In 1960, Marlon Brando travelled to Tahiti to film the remake of Mutiny on the Bounty. It was here that he discovered the island that would later become his own slice of paradise in the middle of the vast Pacific Ocean. On a tiny island called Tetiaroa, he dreamed of building an eco-resort that would change the world. Today, that dream is a reality, and the island itself has been renamed to the Brando. Back in 1960, when Marlon Brando was filming Mutiny, he was a rising star in Hollywood, but it hadn't always been that way. In fact, he had been a poor student in school and had even been kicked out of military academy for smoking. Before he became a star, he dug ditches and worked as an elevator operator. But things quickly changed when he started attending drama classes in New York. The teachers noticed his raw talent, and so did the rest of the country when he landed his famous role in A Streetcar Named Desire. But on the set of Mutiny on the Bounty, Marlon wasn't happy. He felt that, quote, everyone in Hollywood wore a mask, and it showed. His co-stars described him as petulant, difficult and moody, but Tetiaroa was an escape from the set and all of its pressures. And fairly soon, Marlon fell in love with the island, its white beaches, its pristine waters, and the abundance of plants and animals. And he fell in love with the Tahitian people who seemed to know what it meant to live a happy life. The vision. Marlon knew that he loved the island and he knew that he wanted to buy it, but it actually took him about 6 years after filming had finished to finally get his hands on it, and that was only after some very serious negotiations. I don't know what was more difficult, convincing the president of France to let him buy the island, or the nearly blind woman who lived on the island who liked to shoot at intruders with her rifle. Either way, once Marlon got hold of Tetiaroa, he was determined to bring his vision to life. At first, the island was used as a getaway for him and his friends, and it was pretty primitive. In fact, there was very little air conditioning, mosquitoes were rampant, and there were no reliable sources of electricity. But Marlon became fascinated by the island's ecology and dedicated himself to turning the island both into a resort and an example of how to live in harmony with nature. In 1999, he asked the hotelier Richard Bailey for help with the project, but Richard turned him down, and as Richard describes, it just didn't seem possible back then. Marlon was dreaming of a luxury resort, while the reality was the island still didn't have enough water and electricity. But Marlon pressed on. He read up on island conservation and became intrigued by experimental ways of powering the island. And it was this enthusiasm that eventually persuaded Richard to invest. Together, the pair did some serious re-engineering, and they pioneered brand new technologies. For example, one of their technologies involved using the ocean as an alternative to conventional air conditioning. It was essentially at the time an untested method in which you lower a pipe thousands of feet down into the ocean in order to make use of cold seawater. That system is still in use today and has reduced the resort's energy usage by 70%. The island also has solar panels that provide 60% of the resort's energy and swimming pools filled with chlorine-treated rainwater. When it first opened, one luxury magazine called it, quote, a strange and ill-conceived concept, and very few had good things to say about the island's supposed green initiatives. But now, the island has become an example of ecological stewardism. The Brando today. Along with innovative ways of harnessing energy, the island has actually employed lots of other eco-friendly measures. When flying over the Pacific, you can see the island's natural outline, free from any modifications. And that's because Marlon Brando himself insisted that no overwater bungalows ever be built. He was adamant about that fact. To him, they were eyesores. And this actually went against what all the other nearby island resorts were doing. But it was part of Marlon Brando's vision for preserving the island's natural beauty. And another part of his vision is the complete lack of motorised boats. You won't find a single speedboat here. If you want to take advantage of the dreamlike blue waters, you better be prepared to paddle. And if you need sun protection, which let's face it, you probably will, you'll have to wear the special sunscreen provided by the resort that's deemed to be safe for the coral reefs that surround the island. And it's thanks to measures like this that you'll see an abundance of wildlife. Stingrays, sea turtles, and over 167 species of fish inhabit the waters around the island. And those are just the ones that have been seen. Then there's the birds. thousands of seabirds touch down on the island every evening, many of them rare and endangered. This is truly a birdwatcher's paradise. If you're lucky, you might see a red-footed booby or even a flock of frigate birds. And of course, when you're done exploring the island's natural wonders, you'll probably want to eat something. Fortunately, you'll have access to some of the world's best chefs serving locally sourced organic meals with ingredients that come directly from the island's own lush gardens. Cost. Now, all of this is pretty amazing, but how did Brando transform a largely uninhabited island into a post-carbon luxury destination? The answer? With a lot of money. The Brando relies on investments from some major backers in order to sustain itself, but it also generates quite a lot of money from its guests, or at least I imagine it does, considering that the starting price for a night on the island is anywhere from $3,300 to $4,200 depending on the time of the year, and that's for the smallest villa. So unfortunately, the Brando doesn't cater to the average Joe, but it seems to have quite a reputation amongst the ultra wealthy. Names like Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio and Barack Obama have all been added to the guest list at the Brando. In fact, this is where Obama wrote much of his best-selling memoir, A Promised Land. But it's not just celebrities that the island's attracting. Scientists, entrepreneurs, philanthropists and influencers are all joining together to help protect the island and the oceans that surround it. With the help of the Tetiaroa Society, these people contribute their knowledge and resources to a variety of research, conservation and educational programs. The idea is to continue to learn more about the island and its flora and fauna while passing that knowledge to both the local community and the rest of the world. Essentially, the organisation has been carrying on Marlon's vision for the island. In fact, Marlon's own son and granddaughter, Tehotu and Tumi Brando, are both part of the Tetiaroa Society. You see, while Marlon was falling in love with Tahiti back in 1960, he also fell in love with his co-star, the Polynesian actress Tetiaroa. They married in 1962, and although, like Marlon's other marriages, this one also didn't last, the pair remained close throughout the rest of their lives. Now, Tehotu and Tumi both work closely with scientists and lend their first-hand knowledge of the island to the Society's research and conservation efforts. In fact, currently the Society is working to remove invasive rats from the island, and they're also monitoring seabirds and turtles whilst restoring a historic Tahitan village from the 1930s. As part of their effort to restore the island to its natural state, they're also eliminating strands of palm trees. These trees, although native to the island, have actually become a major problem. They became a prized commodity in the mid-19th century once Westerners discovered all of the uses for coconut oil, and settlers covered the island with palm trees, levelling the other vegetation in order to make room for more palms. Now, the Society hopes that by eliminating them, other species will be able to thrive once again. But all of these efforts, as important as they are meant to do far more than just protect the island itself. By inviting people to come and learn about the island's unique history and its ecosystems, Marlon hoped that it could become a stepping stone for a better world. There's no telling what the future will bring for Marlon's beloved island, but one thing's for sure, it will always be a special place where luxury service and a love for nature coexist. Hey, if Marlon Brando's island wasn't enough for you, check out these other videos on screen now with islands owned by some of the richest people on earth. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and go ahead and share this with someone you know. Thanks for watching, catch you in the next video.